Hello again, everybody. This is John and Glenn with BestPriceNutrition.com. Today we're going to be reviewing the Applied Nutriceuticals Lit Up. A lot of requests to review this one, mainly because it's kind of unique. What does it not? What does it not have?
It doesn't contain the 1,3-dimethyl. You could also call it 1,3-dimethylamylamine, 1,3-dimethylpentylamine, or geranamine, however you want to say it.
Yeah, there's a lot of names.
Yeah, it doesn't contain that ingredient. So that's what sets this apart from other pre-workout products.
And that's because some athletic organizations have supposedly banned it.
Yeah. There are also some people who don't respond well to it. There's people who say that they get a really bad crash from it. So this is something that
it's an alternative.
Is an alternative to it, yeah.
And the other main ingredient in here that we hear a lot about now is D-aspartic acid. And okay, the thing with this, it's an amino acid. It's the D version, though. You know, our bodies are used to the L version in terms of our proteins, and they're optical isomers. So, and that just has to do how they react with if you use a polarimeter and how the light, refracts through it. So we're not going to get into all that, but it's present in neuroendocrine tissue, and really why it's come to be in a lot of supplements is there was a study done in Italy. It was published in the Reproductive Biology and Endocrinology journal, so it's in a peer-reviewed journal. And it was an Italian study, and basically what they did is they gave 23 men, they were aged 27 to 37, they gave them a daily dose of a little more than 3 grams, 3.12 grams per day, for 12 days straight. 20 of the men were given a placebo. The testosterone levels in 20 of the men receiving the D-aspartic acid increased 42% after 12 days, and luteinizing hormone increased 33%. They didn't study the mechanism in humans, they studied the mechanism in rats. This Italian company that did it, they were making, I'm pretty sure there's a pharmaceutical available in Italy that they use. Now, they felt the need to put something in order to block an effect, because there's a possible breakdown of D-aspartic acid into D-aspartate oxidase. So the Italian company actually has something that's blocking that pathway from happening. None of the supplement companies I've seen have done that. So apparently this Italian drug company felt the need to block that effect. So we don't know. We don't know if the effect of this is just acute, because it's only a 12-day study. So we don't know if it's just a quick spike and then down, because we don't have anything else to go off of. It's also been shown to be possibly brain boosting in rats. They did some swimming study with a platform. I mean, it's not really relevant here. It was in rats. So the bottom line is, after I went through the study and I looked for other research and stuff, is that, I have a lot of questions. One, we don't know, again, if it's just an acute effect. We don't know what the long-term effects are. We don't know if it's being broken down, like we said, into this D-aspartate oxidase. So, the only way to really tell if it's working for you, if you want to do your own little studies, get your blood work done before, and let's say a month after, if you stay on it, and see if it raises your testosterone. Not saying it doesn't. I just say I'd like to see more research before I'm going to take something based on the 12-day study. And a lot of supplement companies are using it now, just based on this one study. So
it definitely has some promise, but like John was saying, there's no long-term studies done. This study was done over 12 days, so we don't know what happens after those 12 days. I know a lot of people are going to think, if 12 days got me this, I want to take it for 30 days and see what happens, but we don't know what.
Yeah, we're talking about one study with 43 men, 23 of them, receiving it. It's kind of like, well, again, I'd like to see more. I'm not saying no, it's just more research is needed at this point. So, but for some people, if they still want to try it because they're intrigued by it, great. I'd say if you really want to know if it's working, rather than relying on anecdotal things, get your blood work done before, and like I said, a month later or whenever you're going to come off of it. So
yeah, that's a good way to tell if it did give you a boost.
Yeah, assuming all other things are equal in your diet and stuff. Obviously, that's still not 100% foolproof either, but it's one thing you can do. And then another question we got real quick on it is as far as how long can you safely take it. A lot of people were asking that. We don't know. I mean, we really don't know. And another thing is people are confusing D-aspartic acid with aspartame. The artificial sugar. The aspartame is aspartic acid, phenylalanine, and methanol. This is just one amino acid in it, and this is the D form. I'm pretty sure it's the L form in aspartame. So don't confuse the two. Not the same thing. And also, people are going to probably, if you take aspartame, it's going to rot your brain and stuff. There's absolutely no empirical evidence of that. Now, if you don't want to take artificial sweeteners because you're concerned about long-term things, that's fine. I have no way of proving that that's not the case. But to say all these things because you got an email that it causes MS, which is not true, don't bother posting it. We don't want to hear it. It's silly, and you don't have any research to back it up. You're just reading silly emails. So I'd like to get that out there first. So go ahead, because I'm gonna have to answer these. So go ahead.
Yeah. We have been selling this product for a little while, and I know we have some customers who've been taking it for 30 days. We haven't had any bad feedback from customers. We haven't anybody with bad side effects, but again, with that D-aspartic acid ingredient, we don't have any long-term studies to show what it does in the body or how it's going to work. If it stops working, like John said, there may be some period of time where your body starts to break that D-aspartic acid down, so we just don't know.
Yeah, now some of the other ingredients, let's just touch on those real quick. As we've said, this is a pre-workout, so there's some stims in here. And as we said, with stimulants, if you watch our other videos, that's the one time where we kind of do rely on some anecdotal evidence where, if you feel it, great. You know what I mean? It's kind of because it's this very short-term effect in terms of stims. So that's the one time we kind of allow for that criteria, if you will, in terms of how we judge things. So.
Okay. After the aspartic acid, we have beta-alanine. Beta-alanine is in here to buffer the acid that's produced when you're working out. You can get that burn. That's an acid buildup. It can buffer that, allow you to get through that workout. Maybe instead of getting 7 or 8 reps, you might get 9, 10, 11 reps. And it also buffers it throughout the workout so that at the end of your workout, you're not completely inhibited with that burn. Maybe get a few extra reps or sets at the end. Next is betaine hydrochloride. It's also called TMG or trimethylglycine. And the last ingredient is S-adenosylmethionine, which is just SAMe. Now, from reading the write-up for the product, those 2 ingredients are in there because they activate what's called an NMDA receptor, and that's also what the D-aspartic acid in theory does.
And that's based on the mechanism that they saw the mechanism of action in rats, but not in humans. So.
Exactly. So what they're saying is that by having the D-aspartic acid and the other 2 ingredients, the TMG and the SAMe, you're activating both sites of this receptor, or both receptor sites, and you're supposed to, in theory, then you're supposed to get the increase in the luteinizing hormone and increase in free tests. So that's why they're adding those 2 extra ingredients.
So they're thinking it's going to enhance D-aspartic acid.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know.
Enhance its ability.
That's the idea. There's some solid theory behind that, but we just don't know exactly. And SAMe was something, if people are familiar with it, it was out, I think, like late 90s. It was, a lot of people thought it would help with depression and things like that. And now it's actually marketed a lot to help with, I believe, joint pain, actually. So, again, we didn't delve into that research, so we're not saying that that's definitely what it does, but that's kind of the marketing right now. So.
Next ingredients, they call their Endotropin Neuromuscular Enhancement Blend. It is tyrosine, DMAE, and phosphatidylserine. These are 3 ingredients, specifically the first 2 that can help with brain function, give you a mental boost. Tyrosine is a good alternative to people who don't want to take caffeine. You can get sort of a stimulant effect from it without getting jittery. DMAE is very good for brain function, an increase in serotonin. And then you've got your phosphatidylserine. Phosphatidylserine is in a lot of products I've seen to help control cortisol release. It's very good for the brain. You have sort of tying in with choline. There's phosphatidylserine, phosphatidylcholine, and a few other, I can't remember.
Yeah, there's supplements you can buy for that. But the idea is that these are the brain boosting, or kind of to give you that tunnel vision effect. So, like a lot of pre-workouts have gone that route where it's not just stims; they're trying to affect you mentally too. And there is some evidence that is in fact beneficial. So.
Next is what they call their JR3 Targeted Stimulation Matrix. First ingredient is theobroma cacao extract, which is theobromine. It's a source of caffeine. There's natural caffeine, and then there's adenosine triphosphate, or they call it peak ATP, which is an ingredient that is a synthetic ATP.
Yeah, and it doesn't enter the body as ATP. That's the problem with it. So it was in Add Energy, I think, was an Optimum Nutrition product years ago.
Yeah, I think it was the first product.
Popping ATP doesn't increase ATP. Take creatine if that's what you're looking to do. So, so that's kind of what makes this unique, is the DAA and the lack of the 1,3-dimeth, and then and like you said, a lot of people seem to like it. And again, with pre-workouts, that's the one time where we kind of tell people, hey, if you feel it, then great. And if you feel it and it gets you going and you have a better workout as a result, then it's done its job. So
just one other thing I wanted to mention: if you notice the ingredients we went through, we didn't get into much of a pump or a nitric oxide effect. That's really not what this product is intended for.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will say, "Oh, how does this compare to another pre-workout pump product?" It's not.
They're acknowledging that that's BS at this point. Not to say that there's nothing that will eventually increase nitric oxide. It's just that at this point, the ingredients in supplements have not been proven to do so, at least significantly. They make sense in theory, but in reality and in practice, we haven't seen it yet. Again, that's not to say it'll never happen. It's just as of right now, we can only go by the research that we currently have, and that's where that's at. So that's a good point with that. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to post them. We're more than happy to answer them. Also, you can check us out at facebook.com/bestpricenutrition. Thank you.
Thank you.